Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Racers Driving League for Season 17, Round 21 of the Championship. Welcome to the Brazilian Grand Prix here from the legendary Australian Jose Carlos Pache. There we go, got the name right for once. Otherwise known as Interlagos, as we all know it. Looking forward to what should be another fantastic 2 hours of racing here on the channel. Make sure to get subscribed if you aren't already for more future RDL content as we near the closing rounds of the Championship. And we have a Championship fight and a half at both ends of the table. We'll take you through that in a moment or two. But for now, the Q1 getting underway. The first few cars making their way out onto the circuit. There is Red J in the Ferrari, looking to get a Ferrari off the bottom of the Constructors' Championship with the points finished today. If this race is anything to go by in the past, we should be in for a very chaotic affair. But of course, raw pace first on offer. Who's got the speed to make it to the top? Who will put themselves on pole position, give themselves the best chance for that short run down towards the first left-hander into the Center S later on in about an hour's time? Get underway here with the qualifying session. The first car on the way through in this session will be the RB of Flying Duck. We're right on board with him as he takes his first lap of the circuit. Interlagos means between the lakes in Portuguese, for those of you who wanted the fun fact for the day. Telemetry on, we'll get an idea of what a lap around this circuit really is like. Hot lap mode on off of Flying Ducks. He crosses the line, start the first lap of the session, down towards turn 1 up the hill and into the first corner. Altitude changes quite dramatically there. The elevation change in this circuit is phenomenal. So it goes to the Center S and now through that long sweeping left-hander of turn number 3. Running towards turn 4, the Cida del Lago. Late braking zone, of course, host of many infamous moments, in particular Hamilton Verstappen head-to-head in 2021. Of course, they drove each other off the circuit that day. Into the second sector, now into the long sweeping right-hander of turn 7, number of sweeping corners on this track. And now into the slightly more technical part of the second sector. Looking for have a steady right foot here. That's the key to success on this part of the circuit. And now down, coming nearing towards the end of the second sector, and down now into the drop. Looking for the second sector split there in between hit that corner and Junsal. 51.8 in his second sector, and now the long uphill sprint towards the line. Overtake mode for the boys, about a fifth of his tank left to use. They go all out here, keeping the car right over to the left-hand side of the racetrack, and now through the bank last part of the track and towards the line. 1 minute 8.235 from Flying Duck to kick things off. So a very solid first time. We'll see whether the contenders have to try and match that. Red J is the next car through towards the line. He was fast in practice. We could potentially see a Ferrari do form hardy today, but in terms of his first lap, 1 minute 10.524. Compared to Duck, not a fantastic first effort. Cock coming in P3. We're starting his first flying lap. And Grumio goes fast. It's 1 minute 7.4. And if that's anything to go by, we could be in for a fair bit of a clinic from Grumio tonight. Of course, didn't win last time out in Mexico. The race last week went the way of Flying Duck's teammate, Gaming James, who currently sits 11 points behind Landlord in the championship. Landlord will join in the session later on, so most likely looks like he's starting from the back of the grid again. Whether this will be able to get into the Haas this time, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, last week he drove a McLaren to a championship lead, saving 4th place finish. James took the victory. Grumio came home in 5th after the steward report was released on Tuesday night. So in terms of that championship fight then, we now have 30 points covering the top 3 contenders in the standings. Touch Pope P4, 109 points off the lead, the Mercedes driver in terms of the championship race, long forgotten there. And it's all down to these 3 cars. Landlord leads, James 11 back, Grumio 30 back. And with Landlord starting down the order, a tough race or a bit of chaos for him could potentially see the championship swing back into James's favour, who with a 6th who can outscore Landlord by 12 points to take the lead for himself. Grumio can't take the lead today, but he can get himself mighty close to winning the fastest lap. He can definitely close that gap if things go wrong for the 2 contenders in front of him. Keep an eye on Imri, who's obviously been fantastic in qualifying over the course of the season. Running a Senna Tribute helmet tonight, for those you can just see it, the yellow on the side of the car there. We'll see if we can get a better shot of it. Not quite well. I'll have to look into that later on. One of the Aston Martin just crossed the line. The only Aston Martin, that's Daniel Aaron in the only Aston. Obsessed Gamer not in the race tonight. But Dan, of course, pushing after a fantastic result last time out in Mexico. He himself came across the line in 7th place, adding to the points he's already scored this season. He now has 11 to his name in this World Championship. So Aston Martin now sitting in 9th place in the Constructors' Championship. Only a few points clear now Ferrari, who have now got to get their skates on and try and score some points here today. With Red J, we're going back to a place a season ago where he scored his first points of his RDL career. Nabbed the final point on offer in Mexico, and since followed that up with a number of solid finishes. He places in 17th in the championship, tied with Dan right now on 11 points. So all to play for there between those two teams at the bottom of the table. Grumio retired from the session, most likely safe in Q2. Of course, top 15 will go through, so we'll lose the bottom 3 from this qualifying session once the next 12 minutes are passed. 2 Red Bulls out on the circuit. That's Ben and Che. Ben 8th, Che 9th. Che's got a bit of improvement there. 6.7 seconds from his second sector. This could be potentially a big push up the order for Che, who's still hunting another race victory this season. Che towards the line. 1 minute 7.6, enough to put him just behind Imri and just in front of Cott. So separating those two. Imri and Cott with an altercation last week in Mexico. We're looking for a bit less of that from both cars tonight. Here comes the Sauber towards the line now, looking for a solid run. When it's 7.6, it's an improvement, but it's not enough to move off the place. Look at that, 3 thousandths behind Che in P3. And you see Gaming James out on the circuit there. He's coming through to start his first flying lap. The former championship leader has led the standings for the majority of the way this season, but as of right now sits 11 points out of the lead. Of course, just last week took his 5th victory of the season here in Mexico. He's won a quarter of the races so far, which is obviously fantastic to see. Grumio, Landlord and James have combined to win over half of the races we've run so far in season 17. There's still, including this one, there's still 5 more to come. Of course, Brazil tonight, Vegas, which has always been a spectacle as it was back in season 15 when we last ran it, and then Qatar, and then finally the Abu Dhabi, and the reverse group finale in Portimao, being run as the European Grand Prix. Fit we are with the RDL's 2000s F1 sort of vibe. So look forward to that being a very entertaining affair, in which we could go into it potentially with 3 cars going at it in the race for the Drivers' Championship. Now, of course, we've had in the past 2 seasons on this channel, we've had title deciders, we'll have championships be clinched here in Brazil when it served as one of the closing races of the season. Now, of course, there's still 4 rounds to go after this one. Back in season 15, this was the title decider between C110P Fan and Websy. Fan took the win on that occasion, and with it, the season 15 Drivers' Championship. Websy went down as a retirement that day after 6 laps after a crash in the second sector. So the championship was decided very quickly that day. And of course, last season's race was a spectacle in itself. Imri keeps himself second fastest, opens the gap a bit more between himself and Che, but still in P2 right now. You think he doesn't? I think how long does he want to go on those soft tyres? Because he doesn't want to blow 2 race sets. Qualifying, obviously Imri's. I think if he had to give him a strong suit, I'd say this is probably it. Pace over 1 lap. He's still hunting after 20 rounds. He's still hunting his first victory of the season. Looking to add to the 2 wins he claimed in the last campaign in Hungary and in Qatar, which is only in 2 races time. So getting back to the place where Imri knows the way to the top step of the podium. So we could potentially see a race win from him there. In the meantime, it'll be gunning for victory here in Brazil, but it's continued to remain a dark horse for every race victory. He's been a thorn in the side of the championship leaders, all of whom have been trying to just get around their business, and Imri will not stop coming at them. He will not stop. He's relentless like that and continues to push on, looking to end that winless streak. Which has lasted now over a full season. But we'll see what Imri has lined up later on in qualifying. We're into the pit lane now. His teammate Tatsuki Pope now in 5th place, and there is a driver who has impressed massively recently, despite invalidating at the moment we cross over to her. 10th Cannon, just 2 Grand Prix in to our RDL career. Both of them have been run as a reserve. She's a reserve again tonight for Alpine, but last week managed to claim her first ever RDL podium with a 2nd place finish as James went on to win. So of course, while she won't score the championship points from that, the prestige and the respect that comes in from the entire RDL paddock from obviously 2 Q3 appearances in her first 2 appearances in COTA and in Mexico, and from there going on to claim a podium in Mexico, the respect for her value in the paddock has gone up massively. So we'll expect to see a solid last 5 races should she reserve in any more, including this one. So we'll keep an eye on her later tonight. For now, though, the focus will shift to the guys towards the bottom of the table in terms of this Q1 session. Red J is currently the last car into Q2. Ben is the first car out, 1 minute 8.729. And he doesn't improve that time around. Misses out by about half a tenth. So not fantastic. Courtney Goblin, yes, a lap time, but he's currently out on the racetrack on his out lap. Alvaro just started his next lap. So we'll see what he's got in his locker, because Alvaro's always performed well here in Brazil in recent years. But in the validation there, perhaps not a fantastic start to his Q1. He hasn't got a whole lot of time. We're about 7 minutes left in this session. Now, of course, one thing we'll be looking to avoid this in tonight's race is the incident we saw last time we came to Brazil. That was the infamous 4 wide incident on a safety car restart, which took out the majority of the field, left just about 10 cars, I believe, still running. Brought out the RDL's first ever game-generated red flag. And we'll be looking to avoid such a thing happening here tonight. And of course, in terms of the driver who won that race, that being none other than the Williams of PJ Khaled, who I'm sure would love to go back-to-back at circuit. It's now his second RDL victory. And one thing I should mention, eyes are also on the Constructors' Championship, not just at the bottom of the table with Ferrari and Aston Martin, but also at the top tonight, as Haas go into this race potentially being able to claim the Constructors' Championship. They currently sit with a 191-point lead over RB in second place, with Mercedes hot on their tails in third. They're just 19 points back from second place. But it looks as though the championship is all but sealed for the Haas team as clouds start to pile over the circuit, and I just hope we shouldn't see a repeat of the rain in yesterday's Brazilian Grand Prix. Of course, Max Verstappen charged into the field yesterday to go from P17 to P1 in the space of 69 very impressive laps. And we'll see perhaps if a driver like Lionel will have the drive tonight to make it that high up the field should he join us later on. And of course, it'll be crucial to the championship leader's hopes that he can do that. He can lose the lead to James, but not to Grumio. Grumio can close the gap massively with the race win. But of course, 4 rounds to go. 44 points on offer for a 1-2 finish. And the old calculator, if I get my math skills on the table for a moment, if I use that. At this stage, we still need Haas to outscore RB by a fair way. But if I can have there's an exact stat I can see here essentially. So the count here, as long as Haas can stay 176 points ahead of both RB and Mercedes after this race, then they will win the Constructors' Championship. And of course, the gap there is 191. I should imagine that a race victory would be enough for those guys to pull it off. I think RB would need a 1-2 to really stand any chance of bringing this championship any further forward into, of course, Las Vegas. But all eyes for now on the qualifying session drawing to a close here. Just under 4 minutes to go in this session. As of right now, top 3 have all retired. It's still Grumio on top, Imri in second, and Che in third, but just 2 tenths or so separating those guys. JB retiring from P16 in the running order, and I think that will mean JB shockingly out in Q1. And that is a shocker. I can't say I saw that coming, because JB is normally fantastic for qualifying in at least Q2 and on his day Q3, but not to be today. JB is the first car out. And that leaves him alongside Ben and Courtney Goblin in the drop zone. That leaves Alvar on the line. And look at that, just 0.004 of a second between Alvar and JB in the end, and another 17 up to Daniel Aron. It's very close right now. If you have a look at the gaps, just over a second between the top 15. Half the field have now retired from this session. I'm being told there's rain in the way, so perhaps the tactical change may be in order for me, guys. So whether that be during qualifying or whether it be in the race. Not too sure there. Pope retiring. He's obviously P5, so safe for now. Short of everyone behind him improve. Well, even if everyone behind him improve, he can still get knocked out. Actually, scrap that. No, he can't, because the majority of drivers have retired. But majority of cars in the pits right now. Ben and Cockney Goblin know where they are right now. They both know they're in the bottom two and need a couple more tenths to get them into the second round. And we'll see what Ben's got lined up. Into the right hander now, keeping things nice and steady under control. We'll see what sort of second sector can line up. Is 1,000th of a second up. Ben up the hill again. And now into the final corner. We'll see what he's got when he crosses the line here. How can he improve enough? It still stays in P17. Cockney Goblin is out on the racetrack now. This could be potentially his final lap. Imagine that Ben's invalidated, so he's got to get around to have one more go. He's got time to recharge his ERS, but whether he's going to try again or whether he's going to call it there for qualifying, it looks as though he's going out, given that those tyres obviously a bit worn already, and that's how crucial qualifying and worn tyres can be. Websy retires, P10 right now. Red J, Ethan both staying in the pits. Alvar on his out lap, going again in case one of those two cars improves. I'm simply unaware that Ben is invalidated, so most likely Ben's going out, but Cockney Goblin can still trump him potentially if he nails this lap. Into the drop, looking for that second sector. Intermediate there as he comes towards the split line. He's up by 200 of a second. It's not enough right now. He needs about another 9 tenths. It's not looking particularly good here for Cockney Goblin, who looks to be dead last on the grid right now. Can he improve that anymore? Over the line, improves but stays P18. And I dare say that could be the end to qualifying. Ben charges the DRS back up, so he's going to go for one more lap here. See if he's got anything lined up for Alvar. Alvar is a 10th and a half up into turn 4. We'll keep an eye on Ben here. So checker flag gets ready to fall in the session. Just 3 cars out on the racetrack. Those 3 all fighting for Q2 spots. Only one of them go through from here. Cockney Goblin looks to be out. He's 2 tenths down. Ben improves slightly. Needs a bit more though. And we obviously already know Alvar's improving. Alvar only up now by 600ths. But can Ben break that? He was up by 600 himself at the end of the first sector. Up towards the line here. Track tends to drop massively by comparison to what we were at the start of the session. Alvar over the line. Improves 1 minute. Oh, actually doesn't improve. Misses out. Ben's a 10th and a half up. He could nail this. If he gets himself into Q2 from here, he could do it. He's got to go. Oh, he's backed off. And what has happened to Ben? He was a second and a half up. I'm sure there's something I've missed there, but well, I never. Ben looked to be a second and a half up, and maybe could have got himself up into Q2 with that. That'll put Ben out of qualifying. Cockney Goblin also out. Grumio tops this session. Imri and Che second and third. JB, Ben, and Cockney all out. I may have to get away with Ben to see exactly what happened there. Oh, he ran out of fuel, I'm being told. Well, thank you, Imri, for the heads up. Wow, if that is the end of his run, gutting to see when he looked to be going through. But he'll join JB and Cockney in the drop zone. Your top 5 from Q1, Grumio in first, Imri second, Che third, Cot fourth, and Pope in P5. And so the heavens open a little bit here as Q2 gets underway, and this is where things start to get a little bit more interesting, and that rain may have thrown a wrench into a few drivers' plans here. We could see perhaps a slightly more shaken up grid going into Q3. And already there's a mad dash to get out onto the circuit to try and set a soft tyre lap before it starts raining. Everyone's on their way out to kick off this second round of qualifying. Pope leads them out in the Mercedes. He's got his Silver Arrow teammate Imrie backing him up. Those two are right on the move immediately. And imagine once someone's going to give someone else a tow, or they have to give, I say they have to give each other a bit of room, but that could be tough to do. The majority of cars all going out the racetrack here. Flying Duck staying in the pit lane here. He's looking at intermediates, but everyone's making that rush to get out onto the racetrack. So let's see who has the speed here in this first part of Q2. This part that could be crucial to the entire session. Pope all the way over to the right side to kick off the lap. So Imrie for company. I saw Reggie going into the pit lane. Reggie went into Q2, but is pitted, slide from Pope. Could there be a sign of things to come across the lap for the majority of drivers here? It wouldn't surprise me if you see yellow flag or two. The Haas of Grimio's got right now. He's got the Sauber of Cott right up his chuff, and then we get the Sauber might get a slightly decent tow on the run down towards turn 4, but Imrie, of course, Grimio has the DRS, and then maybe a slow tow for himself off of the Alpine of 10th. Well, no, sorry, that's the Alpine. That's not 10th cannon. That would be. Who would that be? That'd be Williams of Ethan, by the looks of it. So we get there eventually. Flying Duck on the racetrack now into intermediates, so we'll see if he's got the right idea in this session. Brad just come in to change onto Winters himself. Pope coming through now, second sector, 53.1. Imrie right on his tail. And we could see Imrie potentially go faster than his teammate, given he'll have the tow, the slipstream, as well as the run of the battery and DRS down the main straight. Will it help him at all? Obviously, the wet conditions slightly less effect. We'll see as they come through to the line. Pope goes fastest, Imrie goes faster. And Mercedes play that to perfection. Grimio, Cott, James across the line, Ethan there, P6. And no one topping the two Mercedes cars who have played that to a T. And that team play is one of the many silver arrows in the quiver that lies inside that garage. Fantastic stuff from both cars there to get themselves 1-2 in this session. And it's not pole position, but it's a start. And should the rain get any heavier, I doubt we'll see anyone go better than that. Should the rain continue on. Mercedes got off, that's Pope has got off the circuit. And it's a good thing he didn't do that on the first lap. So there is your driver carrying Senna's helmet and the top spot in Q2 right now. That is Orion Imrie, who comes charging back into the pit lane and into a very successful first run. He went out behind his teammate in the end. Whether that was a run plan from the two Mercedes teammates or that's just the order they happened to go out in, either way it's worked out perfectly and those two top the session. And again, that rain gets heavier, then I doubt we'll see anyone go faster, and these laps could decide things. That leaves Dan, Ethan, 10th Cannon, Flying Duck and Red J in the drop zone. And the choice gone to intermediates for Duck and Red J may not pay off for them. It all depends on what that rain does. The pit lane suddenly very busy indeed as everyone gets their cars back in the garage. And Dan retiring. So calling it there for this session. He'll be out in Q2. Well played from Mercedes. They run 1-2. Cott in third, Che fourth, James fifth, and Grumio sixth. PJ seventh, Lucky eighth, Alvar ninth, and Websy in 10th. It's Ethan, Dan, Tenth Cannon, Flying Duck, and Red J. Tenth Cannon's still on the racetrack here. It's like really sliding around. She's struggling on those soft tyres. I think it's probably time for her to bring that Alpine back in. Oh, big... Well, that was close. And Lucky Lambert narrowly avoiding her on the way in. Well, everyone's down the pit lane. Imri on seven intermediate tyres there. Could we see a second run from the Mercedes? What is the plan from here? Gaming James going back out. And we'll see if we do see anyone else emerge. Both RBs back on the circuit. There goes Red J as well. Going in on the soft tyres. Is that too big a risk to take? So Red J back on the circuit. It's on both the RB cars. Can Red J get any more pace out of that Ferrari? Slide there. Have to be careful, these guys. Given the conditions, I think we can all say we've seen more than enough filter spills from Brazil in the wet over the last weekend to avoid any more over the course of tonight. We're an hour and a half in, there's been no real incidents. Tenth Cannon retiring, and unfortunately she will not make a third successive Q3 session. She'll go out 13th place there on the grid. At lowest 15th, of course, both Duck and Red J improve. Flying Duck's on his lap. Red J just started his. And we have someone joining us in the commentary box. Pope, welcome back into the comms. Second place there, not too bad for both the Super Mercedes cars.
Yeah, no, it's pretty decent. I mean, I think we both understood the assignment. I mean, Imri loves to go out early in the sessions anyway, but especially with the incoming rain, we were pretty much instantly out there. I think we both subconsciously knew that we had to do that. And yeah, it was quite nice to lead the train because I knew it was only going to get worse and give Imri a tow. Obviously, he's been rapid all season long, so I'm glad that we're 1-2. Obviously, I doubt it will stay like that come Q3, but knowing that we're in Q3, I was a bit concerned I wouldn't even make it, so I'm happy that I'm pretty much guaranteed to be there.
Of course, you think you gave Imri a big slipstream as he's back on the racetrack now on the intermediate tyres. Was that the game plan, or that just happened to be the order that you came out?
It happened to be the order, but we both said like we have to give someone a tow. Like it's the lap times are so close around here, it does make a difference. So if it did help, and it clearly has, it absolutely rapid lap, especially in those conditions. I'm very glad.
And do you think we'll have to sort of repay the favour a bit more in Q3?
We'll see. I think it's going to be pretty bad conditions coming into Q3, so I'm more of a driver who just rather have a clear track ahead of him in those conditions. But I know I've obviously set my car up to be better in the wet conditions. Made some setup tweaks, so we're gonna utilise it as best as possible. Yeah, it might be a bit handy to maybe get a few laps on the intermediates just to see what the grip's like on the circuit.
Sounds good. Well, feel free to stay for the last 5.5 minutes of the session as we wrap things up here. Feel free if you guys making occasional run, just get a feel for the inters right now. I mean, if you want to stay, like I say, feel free.
I'd happily. I'll probably head out as well, so I can give you some first-hand feedback on the track conditions as well.
Are we expecting rain during the race as well, or just in qualifying?
So, obviously, it's a bit tough to really kind of figure out what the conditions are or what it's going to be like in the what's it called in the race, where it's either going to be wet, dry, wet, or dry, wet, dry. We're not too sure yet, so you know,
Oh,
it's going to be like that as someone just had a big off.
no, that's quite close. There was almost near contact between Imri and Flying. I believe that was Flying Duck. No, sorry, that was James. Those two almost came together. And Red J also retired after going back on the racetrack. He's out qualifying. One more place to be decided, and only Ethan right now is still running and in the drop zone. Narrowly, whether he's looking over his shoulder.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough, I think, for anyone to really improve. It's kind of a point where the dries are still sitting faster, but there's going to be absolutely zero grip going on there. It's more about the temperature rather than the grip. It's probably going to be the main issue. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a shame there for Ethan. But obviously P11 is probably still going to be quite the achievement for that Williams team.
Fair enough. Now, one thing we haven't mentioned a few times so far this evening is, of course, the championship scenarios. Imri goes for a slide there into the drop. Of course, the championship gap now just 3 points, 3 drivers separated by 30 points, and of course Haas can win the constructors today, so we could have one championship side when we leave into Lagos. But of course, in terms of the drivers' championship, which is a big one, we've got 5 rounds to go, and I don't want to jinx it, but we could maybe be looking at a 3-way title decider going to Portimao.
That'd be lovely. I mean, for everyone involved. Obviously not for myself, who sit there P4 just kind of watching on annoyingly. But yeah, no, it's really good. And these type of races where conditions are a bit sketchy, and obviously Landlord will be starting from further down the grid, I believe. So it's going to be real key focus to see James and Grumio join this race. But Imri said it earlier on in the chat, saying, you know, anyone can really. There's a lot of drivers who maybe aren't fighting for the championship, but still have decent pace that can really make a difference. And I think we will see that potentially in this race.
Because it won't be the first time we've seen drivers further down, or obviously not running for the championship, but still being thorns in the sides of the championship contenders. Of course, we saw it with, of course, for example, Imri and Cott in Mexico last week. Those guys were up in the lead pack throughout the day, and of course, you were up there as well at some stage, I believe. Am I wrong? Sorry, I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, not Mexico. We don't talk about Mexico as a horrific race for myself. But
I'm trying to remember who it was, because there were 6 of them, I feel. Or was there 5?
Not too sure.
I think it was 5. I think I'm wrong. There was 5, but Lando wasn't one of them to the end because he started from the back of the field. It could be a slide there, Pope on the rear end of the car.
Oh yeah.
He's trying to show
a little
off
bit. Oh, of course I am. I always have to show off. No, a little touch of the grass. The grass is getting very, very slippy very, very quickly, is what we're figuring out. And obviously DRS has been disabled as well, so it is now officially towards time for intermediate tyres. But yeah, after Mexico, I had a Mercedes paid for a lovely trip up to York for me, so I had a nice reset of the mind, and we're back here. Didn't think I'd be doing this well, P2 and Q2, but you know, you take the wins, don't you?
You do indeed take the wins. Now, I forgot. Sorry, are we looking at a wet Q3 as well, weather-wise?
I'm gonna believe so. Yeah, I think it's gonna be wet now until probably middle part of the race.
Oh, okay.
Which it goes scorching. Like the temperatures rise by 4 degrees, which is obviously a hell of a lot, especially if you're in the UK. 4 degrees feels like a sauna. But yeah, obviously that means probably be on the dry tyres for at some point during the race. But you might see people just run those intermediates back onto the intermediates for the second wet condition. So kind of seeing that interslick tyre be recreated, as we saw in, I believe, in Turkey. It was in 2020. So yeah, really interesting, and I think those who kind of prioritised a dry setup might struggle quite a lot, especially with the amount of curb that you have to take on the circuit, because those curbs are getting slippy.
Slippy indeed, and we'll keep an eye on that over the course of the of Q3 and the race itself. So we are wrapping things up here, and it is looking more and more like Ethan we're going out here in Q2, which means we are more or less set for Q3. Websy just makes it through. Alvar, Lucky, PJ, Grumio, James, Che, Cott, yourself, and Imri on top. So solid group for Q3.
Yeah, it's really competitive, this group. I think, you know, it's nice to see the Alpine of Alvar as well up there, who has had some great pace, but it's just not really able to convert into the race. But yeah, no, very excited to see him up there.
So the checker flag is now fallen. So once Alvar crosses the line, that will do it. And we'll see in terms of pole position next time out. If you had to give me a prediction now before I let you go, who will that prediction be?
I'm gonna have to go Grumio. I think you'd be silly not to. How many pole positions now? Is it 10 this season? Not too sure.
11 this season.
11 this season. Yeah, I think you've got to go. Yeah, you've got to go with Grumio. But I mean, Imrie, like I say, is currently top. So why would you bet against Imrie as well? It'd be interesting to see.
Definitely interesting to see. Well, thank you for coming along, Pope, for a mate throughout Q2. Good luck in Q3. So we'll let you go for now. There is your top 10. Imrie goes through. Pope in second place. Cott third. Che fourth. James in fifth. Grumio, PJ, Lucky, Alvar, and Websy all advance into Q3. Ethan, Dan, 10th Cannon, Flying Duck, and Red J all finding their fates there at the end of second round of qualifying. And into Q3 we go now. The shootout for pole position will begin. Here we go now then, this is for all the marbles then. Welcome to Q3, and the rain has been turned up that a little bit more. Whether we're still looking at intermediates, not too sure. Whether we could be looking at wets for this session. Though of course the rain could be obviously a bit deceiving, but we'll probably still be looking at inters throughout. But it should be interesting nonetheless. There is your 10 cars going in, a roundup of teams. Just 2 teams getting both their cars into Q3 this week. Those teams will be Sauber and Mercedes. Of course, Mercedes running 1 and 2. Sauber with another consistent performance. They continue to chase securing 4th place in the Constructors' Championship after a fantastic season they've had. Of course, the one win from Websy. Cott also still hunting his first win of the campaign along with Imrie. But Q3 underway, and one thing that Imrie hasn't been lacking this season is pole positions. So we'll be looking perhaps at another one to his count today. But can Grumio be denied? 11 pole positions from 20 races. He's taken 55% of all qualifying sessions this season. And he'll be looking to take it a little bit further. That'll be around sort of 56 or so if he can take away pole from this race. 6 cars on the racetrack here, 4 of them still in the pit lane. Websy is emerging, Alvar is emerging, Pope and Grumio staying in the pit lane. And the first car up to the line will be PJ Cowley, who also has the 1 pole position to his name in China, and a defending race winner here in Interlagos. Can he try and go back to back today? Here he comes towards the line to start his first lap. Up towards turn 1. Braking zones obviously mightily adjusted. This for a few guys, this is their first run on intermediate tyres in these conditions. Of course, a fair few of them running with the softs. I think I saw someone looking at the wet tyres for a second there. That may have been Pope in the pits. I'm assuming it was Pope in the pits. They're running on board with PJ through the first sector. A solid run so far. We'll see what he's got lined up here in sector 2. Into the right hander, keeping things nice and steady. Sliding a slight bit, but keeping it under control. Up into 4th gear again, the exit. Into the left-hander then, and down towards second split, 58.8. And that time will be far off what we normally expect from Interlagos and Ajawa. Of course, we got a glimpse of it in Q1 and a brief glimpse still in Q2. The times weren't as far off, but we're looking at about 1 minute 15-16 from PJ here. 1:16.3 is the first effort. Lucky Lambert next car through into P2. Imri comes through third. Where will he line up? Imri goes fastest, 1 minute 15.273. And that is the time to try and follow. Next car through, Cott, also a perennial contender in qualifying or ever present in the race for Q3. 1 minute 16.3. He puts himself into third, then fourth as James goes second. Grumio starting his first lap. Pope, the last car to come through to start a lap. Che goes fastest, 1 minute 15.191. Good move from Red Bull. Their man now at the top of the charts after Verstappen's win yesterday. Yellow flag in the second sector. Lucky Lambert and looks like Peter Carroll both had an off. Whether they come together, I'm not sure. I'd assume not. Let's wait for confirmation there in terms of what happened between those two. Across the line, P5. Only Grumio and Pope get set lap times. Pope through to start his first lap. But Che on top right now, unless Grumio can do anything about it. 19.4 in his first sector for the reigning champion. Still in with a chance of clinching his 8th championship this season. Perhaps trying to extend his league record of most championships won, by which he leads that by quite a span over Landlord in second place with 3 championships. Landlord in the lead looking to secure his 4th, and James of course gunning for his 1st. Grumio of course never stops in terms of pole positions. Could he add another one to his collection here? He won it. It was P3 for the minute. 1:15.3. And very close there to being topped by James. James on his next lap now. We'll see what he's got lined up. I'll be looking at this sort of weather during the Grand Prix too. Yellow flag, and that is Almar going slowly in the third sector. Recovers it and continues on. He's currently P6 right now. This would be a fantastic run for Alpine. I said it earlier on, he tends to do better at the tracks on the far end of the schedule. And I've always noted Brazil is the one where he really starts to step, the one where he really shows up. The tracks sort of span from Cota into Mexico and Brazil, those sort of circuits. Imri goes fastest, first car into the 114s. Is that something Imri getting faster or the track getting faster? Che's up by a 10th. Grumio down by 3 seconds. Not fantastic then. I imagine we might see him come back in again for a fresh in to go for another run. Obviously, run plans heavily adjusted here. Che now 4 tenths up. It could be enough to get him back onto pole. Keeps it moving, that Red Bull. Charging in now towards the last corner and towards the line. He does improve. He beats Imri's time. Half second up. So Che back on top. James into third place into the 114s. There's the track is getting faster now because that rain looks a lot less heavy than it did earlier on. We'll see how much Grumio improves. Grumio only up by 800ths. Not fantastic from the champion. And the rain does look like it's slightly lighter by comparison. Imri 1.7 down. Actually pretty backed off this lap. I'm also looking at a stop onto another set of intermediate tyres and back out onto the racetrack for one more run. What is the run plan for him with Mercedes? Going to continue on. We'll see what he's got left in his locker. Just a few minutes to go. Cop P5 right now, validating his current run, but has full battery now. Letting the Haas go up the hill. What can Grumio do? He was down in the first sector. We didn't see his second sector time. He's coming in. And the track, it looks to have stopped raining here. It has stopped raining. The track looks more or less dry. Potentially, we could be in, maybe, if it is dry enough, we could be looking at one late run from everyone on soft tyres. And there's 4 minutes to go. There's plenty of time to make that change and get back out there. What is the plan for these guys? We'll see what goes on as Pope makes his way in. Webbs has just gone back out on the racetrack on the intermediate tyre. So is that going to be perhaps a dampener on Webbsy's plans? We'll see if he makes the change onto another set of soft tyres. And I the track's still wet somewhat. Let's give me a look at the softs. And that'll be the sign then of the change. So this is on the racetrack. 4 cars now looking at softs. Pope on the softs now. Webbsy's in. PJ staying out. PJ going one more on the intermediate tyre. He's into P3. Fantastic lap there from the Williams car, but can he hold on to it? Everyone looking at softs. Now the trick thing here is everyone wants to be the last one to the line. And at this point, we looked at teams like Sauber, like Mercedes, the 2 teams who have both their cars in this session. So the run plan here is for Imrie to go out first. But Pope not following him, right behind him. 2 cars going back out, Imrie and Lucky Lambert, both on the racetrack now. Pope's mechanics getting ready to send him back on the racetrack. 2 minutes to go. So enough time to get back around again. Che back on the racetrack. Looks like one of the sides going out, that'll be Cott. I can see Haas sending Grumio back out there. Sorry, no, that's the Alpine. There goes the Haas, and then the RB teams letting the 2 title rivals back on the circuit. The 2 drivers chasing Landlord in the standings. Slide there from PJ. He's invalidated now. I think him staying out on those intermediate tyres may be a bad call. He's retired from the session. P3 at best for him. I should imagine we'll see him drop down the order like a fly here. There are 9 drivers, all out laps. Is Imrie slowing up? Is he waiting for Pope perhaps? What is the plan for these 2 cars? Looks like Pope's going to give Imrie the run again. Well, they're going separately because there's quite a fair bit of gap there between the 2 of them. It's a bit of space this time. No toe in the making between these 2 cars, I would think. So here we go then. Let's look through final laps. 30 seconds to go. Last car as we get through to the line will be the Alpine of Alvar, who's now on the soft tyre. He's got 20 seconds to make up that hill. Can he make it in time? I think he will. Grumio crosses. James over the line. Webbsy over and Alvar all making it. So 9 cars coming through to set their final laps. The checker flag is ready to fall. Lucky is invalidated. So we'll go to the next car behind him. That will be Imrie. Got Pope right behind him there. We'll keep an eye on his second sector split. Slide down the corner exit, not fantastic. So he runs himself into the last sector. He's a 10th down. That is not what he needs right now. Another slide. These soft tyres are not working in Imrie's favour at all here. He needs a big push in this last part of the racetrack to get himself back on pole. Towards the line. Does he do it? Stays P2. Not enough there from Imrie. Pope in the pit lane. Calling an end to his session. Che in the pits. Grumio's coming through. Has he got enough? I think he may have just missed out. Grumio will miss out. DRS is re-enabled in time. James stays P4. It looks as though Che has pole. Here comes Alvar to cap it off, and that will do us. Che will take pole position here in Brazil. He'll lead Imri to turn 1. James P4, Grumio P5, PJ and all that stays P3. Fantastic qualifying from the Williams driver. So there is your top 10. Che, Imri, PJ, James, Grumio, Cott, Pope, Websy, Alvar, and Lucky Lambert. Fantastic qualifying all around the end there. And that'll cap us off for the moment. So that was your top 10. Be back in a few minutes' time, but we'll start the race. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Brazilian Grand Prix, and the heavens have well and truly opened more than they did in qualifying. Welcome back to Interlagos. We are in for a treat here in this first part of the race on a circuit that has been notorious for weather in the past. Even just yesterday, this weekend just gone, the rain we were hit with, the fact where it postponed qualifying. No risk of that here. There is the circuit, and the background image there definitely doesn't portray the image that we've been faced with here today. There is the graphic design by our very own JB to, of course, replicate the style of the graphics in the 2000s. PJ Sciarra, the defending winner, lines up P3 on the grid. He won the race for Alpine last season, this season in the Williams. And, of course, the big stories coming into one of the races for the Drivers and Constructors Championships. 30 points separate the top 3 in the standings. Landlord, James, and Grumio and Haas, if they finish today's race over 176 points clear of RB, they will take the Constructors Championship, and Landlord and Grumio end up with another championship to their name as combination. Here's the starting lineup then. Landlord did join us later on this week. After joining late, he will not make the start of the Haas. He will drive the Aston Martin in today's race. We all know he's marked as a Haas driver. He'll start by himself on row 10. Row 9, Courtney Goblin and Ben both found themselves out in Q1. JP was the shock of those three who was eliminated at the end of the session. Adjusted for the wet weather, didn't pay off for him in the end, eliminated early on, but could see a change in his pace in his first few laps. Red J lands at P15, looking to try and get some points on the board for Ferrari after Aston Martin's points finish last time out in Mexico, courtesy of Daniel Aaron, who lands at P12. Flying Duck lands at P14. He's got some work to do to get him up to the field to help his teammate and try and prevent Haas winning the Constructors today, because RB sitting second and still defending from Mercedes in third. Tent Cannon did not make a third successive Q3. RDL's newest podium finisher as a reserve will line up in P13 reserving the Alpine. Dan lines up P12 in the Aston Martin. Of course, the one full-time Aston Martin driver in the field, Obsessed Gamer, not with us this week. Ethan lines up P11, looking up for a solid race this time out after like he did last season in Brazil. Lucky Lambert lines up P10, Alvar into P9, always solid at the circuit. Websy lines up in 8th place, looking to push Sauber's push to maintain 4th in the Constructors Championship. Pope lines up P7. Best of the rest right now in the standings in 4th place. Koch still hunting his first win of the season. Chucky's well out before. He'll take 6th on the grid. Grumio lines up 5th, 30 points back after a major charge in this late part of the championship. James in P4 can take the championship lead away today. Should he finish 12 points in front of Landlord. PJ lines up 3rd, defending race winner. Imri still hunting his first win of the season. And Che on pole position. And everyone is looking, in terms of tyres, at the intermediates with a few cars on the wets. Dan, Duck and JB all on the wet tyre. As your championship leader, they're in the last spot on the grid. So here come the lights then at Sodden Interlagos circuit for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's time to bring the action. It's lights up, foot to the floor. We are underway for 36 laps here in Brazil. Che with a good start, jumps in front of Emery through the spray. Almost impossible to see. They're going to turn 1. James with a good start, big drama further back. Everyone all over the circuit. They've got a car going wide. That is 10th Cannon off the circuit, but rejoining in P14. Down the place to JB. What a start from JB there. 3 places gained already. Che away. Emery 2nd, James in 3rd, Grumio 4th. Caught down to 5th place. PJ down to 6th. Sorry, Costa's 5th, PJ down to 6th. Not a good start there from the defending race winner. And it's all a mess behind them. Flying Duck wide off the circuit there. Recovers JB up into P11 already. What a start from the McLaren driver. And his teammates going the opposite way. He's down to P14 on the start, side by side with 10th Canada as they run through the 2nd sector. Che with a fantastic start there. Led away brilliantly from Imri. You can see, even in the poor angle, you could see how far away he got from a distance there. James in 3rd place, Grumio in 4th. James with this finish would take the lead away in the Drivers' Championship. A 4th place finish, if Vandal fails to score, will be enough. If Landlord finishes 9th or higher, then James will need 3rd. Imri then on to lap 2. Imri looks to the outside, turn 1, Che forced him the long way round. Imri though will not give in. He's got the inside for turn 2, Mercedes versus Red Bull there. Where have I seen this story before? Through turn 3, Che has it on the inside. James right behind both cars here as they run down towards the Tito Delado. And going in, James on the inside there of Imri, who's on the outside of Che, going in with a slide from Mercedes, almost got off the circuit. And James takes P2 away, and Grumio will tuck into line behind Imri. Top 5 all close together there. Pope P6 said to be prior to the race, didn't feel like he had the pace for Interlagos in general. Never managed to win here. Well, the many tracks he's won in his league racing career, this has been one that has been away from him, even during his title winning season of season 11. A long time ago now by now. Che then in the lead. But can James have anything for him down the main straight? It's all single file for now. We perhaps should expect some dry running later on in this Grand Prix. But for now, it's looking like it's going to be quite wet for a while. And those wet tyre runners, I'll tell you what, doing a good job right now. P10, P11, P12, all of them up from their starting spots. Let's have a look at those. 2 spots, 5 spots, and 2 spots for Dan, JB, and Flying Duck. James the fastest lap there. Shows the pace on offer then from that RB machine as he seeks to regain his championship lead. Where is Landlord right now? He's down in P14 in the running order. Expect the championship leader to have a fight on his hands today as 10th Cannon battles Flying Duck for P12 right in front of him. He's going to try and get involved in that fight in his Aston Martin, his temper Aston Martin, for today's race. See James really putting the challenge on Che here as they run through turn 4. Still very early in this race with plenty of time for things to change up front. Ethan's made his first stop of the race. He's P19 right now. May have picked up damage on the opening lap. He's back onto 7 intermediate tyres. Have a full look at your position gain. Adora's getting the most spots so far. It's the tyre right now between JB and Landlord. Both of them are up 5 places. See Flying Duck squeezing 10th there towards the inside curb. Both cars are really going at it in that race for P12. But Duck needs to try and pull away. In terms of drivers lost the most spots, that is curve now belongs to Ethan, who is obviously down 8 places from that pit stop. Yellow flag, and that's Ben and Courtney Goblin. Well, Ben's going through the grass there, and Courtney's on his way through. Ben rejoins just in front. Down the main straight, James to the outside now. Going the long way around towards turn 1. Che will have the inside line going in, and he'll maintain it. Contact between the pair of them. James tapping the back of that Red Bull right on his gearbox there, not giving him a moment to breathe. That top three continuing to try and pull away from Grumio in fourth, who will not let them pull away too much. He's got caught in his tail himself in the Sauber and posted about 1.8 behind them. So James just going a bit deeper there on the racetrack, really looking for another line. And on the outside, trying to find a way around James. How much more can James really sort of force the issue? Daniel Aron into the pit lane for Aston Martin. He's made a change. He's onto the 7 intermediate tyres here. So one of the 3 wet tyre runners in this race now making this stop. And have the wets paid off as much as they thought they would. JB seems sort of slightly struggling for grip off the corner. Is that a problem facing both the 2 remaining wet tyre runners? Now where will Che go this time? So far it's working to defend the inside each time as they rise up the hill once again and down the main straight. The main crowd rising to greet them. Che runs all the way towards the wall there. James to the outside of the racetrack, pulls alongside, but again, it works out just right for Che. He's got the line going in, but James is still there. We have the line for turn 3-2. That's the advantage for Che then, who maintains his lead. He's doing a fantastic job, knows what he needs to do now to keep those guys at bay right behind him. And with that, Grumio closing back in. Landlord now replaced out the points. He's 1.2 seconds behind JB in the McLaren, running P10 as it stands. And of course, James right now, even with Landlord out the points, if he does get in the points, as it stands, James leads the Drivers' Championship. He needs to outscore Landlord by at least 12 to take the lead for himself outright. As of right now, he's outscoring by 18, which will move the championship lead 7 points in his favour. Obviously, Grumio gaining 12. And that will leave him at 18 points behind his teammate. For himself would be 7 behind. So it'll be 18 points between Grumio and James at top 3 caught by 18. That's a close race with 4 rounds remaining after this one. There's still plenty of time for things to go wrong for these guys, but we hope they don't. Down the main straight again, Imrie close to James, and James is to Che, but James is going to try it again though. Che knows what he's doing. He knows the tactic now. Defends the inside. Was there a tap there? I don't think there was, but Imrie trying to find a way in. Can't quite do it. Fantastic fighting. What a score between these 3 cars as they again trail each other through turn 3. Imrie following right in James's tyre tracks, looking for some sort of move to make, looking for some sort of error he can try and enforce. Nothing for the minute. James calls the cucumber as they ride up through sector 2 once again. Nice and steady. The top 4 cars now is going to make that top 5 because Grumio and Cott have both entered the picture. Slight slide there from the Sauber, but keeps it under control. Pope 3.2 behind Cott and Websy about a second behind. These 2 veterans really going at it. PJ down to P8 then. From starting P3, not a fantastic start from Alva making moves though. Upper place misstarting spot. And Landau now in the points playing position, so keep an eye on him as the race continues. We've still got 30 laps to go, so I know I keep saying it over and over again, but plenty of time for things to happen. Oh, Che, perhaps a slightly less favourable exit that time. We could see James go for it. Not good at this time, not enough for Rumries. Go for it. He's recently almost hit a lock-up from both cars. But they're trying to get their cars back down to condition here in the rain. See James looking around, trying to make something happen. It's turn 4 once again. Both cars going nose to tail. Not an inch between them. And again, Che, despite leading the way, and we've seen this before, not being given an absolute single moment to think about what he's doing. It's blind instinct right now as he keeps 3 cars behind him. 4 cars, sorry, 4 of the best in the business in terms of RDL as they continue to hound him for that P1 spot. Not giving an inch. The Red Bull refusing to get up, but that rain looks to be getting slightly bit lighter now. So are we going to see potentially, because of course Pope came to us at pre-race during Q2 and said to us potentially a wet, dry, wet or a dry, wet, dry. And it's looking like it's going to be the former of those 2. The question is though, when do those windows change? When do we get to those points in the race? We'll get an idea should the race control re-enable DRS. Both cars, both James and Che below the line there. James fastest lap. Che again defends the inside. He's got to find a different way around him if he wants that race lead. Because it's clear that James knows just what he's doing, knows what Che's game is now. He needs a better exit off turn 3. He's just got it there, down towards the Tito Delago once again. Look to the outside towards turn 4. Can he make a run this time? Looking to outbrake his opponent in the Red Bull around the outside. Bit of a slide there from James. Che shuts the door on him. James will stay in P2 for now. Che maintains the lead, but it's not over yet. Can he come back at him into turn 7? Not a bit of it. Che stays in front. Grumio in control of P4 for now. Landlord still in P10, 4.5 seconds back from the Alpine of Alvo. Is now giving PJ Khaled a sight in his mirrors. PJ himself 1.6 back from Websy, 1.6 back from Pope. And he's then 3.5 up to the top 5 cars that have broken away as we saw in Mexico last week. James needs a better run out of Junso. Imri up the hill, close to James again than James is to Che. So we could see a change for second place, but James can now try and employ that same tactic that's been used against him for the first 7 laps this Grand Prix. James with a good run here. Caught with the fastest lap. Keep an eye on that Salbris. He goes diving to the inside of the reigning champion at turn 1. And makes a bit of contact as it goes side by side. Grumio keeps the place only just, but he now knows Kott's about, and Kott is looking for that P4 spot. JB into the pit lane. JB making a change here. No change in terms of the positions up front. JB now at the point, so his wet tyres have done their job. Intermediate's now going on. But the question is, has that now cost him time? Maintaining control. We're on lap 9 now, 36 to make up this race. In terms of that top 5, the gap separating them 1.8 seconds as it stands. Further back, we continue on. Everyone's spread out quite a fair bit here. There goes 10th Cannon down the inside of Flying Duck. Those two fighting for P14 still. Ben's managed to get... Ben's got his skates on now. He starts to find his way around them. These two really getting close together. Going for a bit of argy-bargy here. Into turn 1, the 2 leaders as it stands. It's still Che in front. James again can't find a way around him. This track looks drier. A dry line is definitely starting to form here. We could be looking to get our first stop to this Grand Prix soon enough. And with that, with a dry track comes DRS, which will make defending these places a little bit harder for Che. For now, though, he keeps it under control in P1. Looking to add to his victories he's claimed already this season. Winning on return in Silverstone. Of course, that was the main highlight win. Perhaps his moment of the season. British Grand Prix was an absolutely fantastic race in season 17. But a number of fantastic races this season. 10 Cannon picks up the first time penalty of the night for multiple warnings. That's the first 3 seconds race control had to hand out tonight. I get the feeling that race control will have a lot less work to do than the real life race control from yesterday's Grand Prix. Imri on the main straight here. Seems to start as a close on James, but then James gets a much bigger run on Che, but he's too far back to make anything of it right now. Out of our penalty for multiple warnings. Keep an eye on these guys, they continue on. Take a look through the field here. Everyone quite spread out now. The main focus will still be on this battle for the lead up front. The track, without doubt, looks dry. JB fastest lap. I think that should be definitive proof the track's getting better. So coming on to lap 12 of this Grand Prix. Slide from James. He's falling back from Che now. This could be the opportunity Imri's looking for. Yellow flag for the back. That is Alano and Alvar going at it. Both cars are okay, so we'll continue on. Imri with a good run here potentially on James. James uses his overtake on the main straight. Is Imri using his? It's tough to tell because of the helmet position. It looks as though he's not. But how much battery has Imri actually got? Let's have a look at the telemetry here. So Imri's got probably a bit more than I would have expected. And he's using it, but he was using it briefly. Top 5, all still together. Che now at 1.2 second gap. It's opened it up a bit. In control of this race now. Bit of a slide there. These medium tyres obviously done a fair bit at the minute. And perhaps not the tyre choice anymore. It's still raining. Admittedly a lot lighter now. But will anyone in this lead pack bite first? Well, I say a lead pack. Now it's Che pulling over to 1.6. And he's got the fastest lap to boot a full 25 points. 26 points, sorry. As things stand right now, Haas will continue to maintain their stronghold in the Constructors' Championship. They will take home the title if things stay as they are. Flying Duck dead last right now. He's just made his pit stop a couple of laps ago. James in second place. And that team, given that Grumman's run in the lead pack the whole race so far, we're a third of the way in, and Lando will no doubt join them later on, despite being in the Aston Martin today. I'm thinking we could be seeing again this pairing being crowned Constructors' Championship winners for a second season in a row. They did it with Williams last season. Grumio came home with the driver's title. He's 7th in all. It's Chase sliding here, struggling to maintain control. That cost him a few tenths. Oh, a slide from James too. But this pair, those two cars, will most likely end up with the Constructors once again. And who can read deny them at this point? Guys, there have been points across the season where it looked at the very beginning like this would be RB's title in their first season of RDL competition as under the V-Carb name, called AlphaTauri, for the last 7 or 8 seasons. I'm thinking most likely since around sort of season 8 or 9 would have been the last time they were Toro Rosso from around season 9 and 10 onwards until season 16 they've been AlphaTauri, and season 17 their first as RB. As I say though, regardless of the name, they looked to be the favourites going into this season to try and, well, after the first few races, sorry, to try and clinch the Constructors, because they held the lead for a fair bit. James obviously held the lead for quite a long time. Lando snagging it from him about 4 or 5 races ago. But then Haas hit their stride, and from then on, James, of course, went for that long barren run between Canada and Mexico without a race win, and Flying Duck hasn't had the pace across the last 15 races or so. At least compared, in terms of running up front. Chain control. We're to lap 15 now this race, and again another fastest lap. It's still a bit too early to be thinking about dry tyres just yet. Are we going to get any dry running in? Or will the range get heavier once more? We'll have to wait and see. There's Pope. Pope's sitting solid in P6 right now. And right now, in front, crucially, of Websy. Which is what he needs. In terms of points separating those two cars in the championship, we're looking at just 16 points between Pope and Websy. That gap will extend to 18 points should things stay as they are. 18 points in Pope's favour. And it stopped raining here. It looks to have stopped raining. And we could be, and now the track is getting dry, we could be looking at that change. She's done so once again. See these guys struggling for grip. Chase kept it more in control than anyone else in that lead pack. And I imagine we'll probably see him this time, potentially. Let me see it again. Is anyone bite? Not dry enough just yet. Red J becomes the third car to receive a time penalty. Landlord P9 is closing now on PJ Khaled. Of course, Landlord only just lost this Drivers' Championship in this race last year as PJ pulls into the pits. And a 10-second penalty for the defending winner for speeding in the pit lane. Yellow flag, and that is, I think that's Cott's got a problem. Cott is still off the circuit. Has he got damage? He has! A lot of damage there for the Sauber, who slips in behind Pope and in front of his teammate Websy. But a lot of end plate loss on that car. PJ and medium tyres gone on that machine. He's away. Lucky Lambert joins him. Those are the first cars to bite. I think the bottom half of the pack will be going for those Pajero tyres a bit earlier than the guys up front. But it shouldn't be enough to make any change in the order in terms of up here. Flying duck 10 seconds. This is his second stop. He's been caught speeding the pits as well himself. 10 seconds to him. Che now 2 seconds to the good. In he comes here. Be careful when so close to pit entry. Grumio stays out. Fastest lap for Grumio too. What is the reigning champion thinking there? What's his game going into turn 1? Meanwhile, Che making the change. Caught 10 seconds. Speeding in the pit lane, and his race in the last lap or so has gone out of the window quite quickly here. I don't believe he can serve that immediately. He can't, obviously. Front wing being changed too. Medium tyres in that race car. He's away now, but will have that 10 seconds to serve either at his next stop or at the end of the race. 10th Cannon becomes the third recipient to that penalty. She's going to now have that problem herself. Her teammate Alvas made a change onto medium tyres. 10th, one of the last few cars still on the inters. They're going to change her onto the medium tyres. Lambert, Websy, Pope and Grumio all stayed out. The gap now between Grumio and Che sitting at about 19 seconds. Grumio there narrowly avoiding lapping Ethan. And Grumio, for the second week running, gets hit with it too. 10 seconds time penalty for Salve Grumio, in trouble now. And that pit exit has caught a number of drivers out. Will it catch out Landlord too? It won't. Whatever plan Grumio had cooked up may have just been countered by his own undoing. The Haas team getting Grumio has to get back into the pit lane again. And a rare shot inside the Haas garage as Grumio re-emerges back on the racetrack and re-emerges in P3 just in front of Imrie, but crucially with a penalty and caught another 10 seconds there as he's coming to serve one. He's been hit with another. Look at that. 5 different drivers who all got caught out. That's a big hit for Cott and Sauber. Cott, of course, hunting Imrie. 40 points down to him in the drivers going into today. That gap will not get any further. Another wing change too. Found himself probably about 2/3 of a lap behind now. Not fantastic. Not how he wanted his Brazilian Grand Prix to go. But the race now continues, and we will get Che versus James with DRS in play too. There it is. Down the main straight. Can James try and take the lead? And a better run going towards turn 4 this time. Grumio not getting DRS off the 2 leaders, but Imrie will. Down towards turn 4. A bit too short there with that battery being used. James not using his battery at all there, so maintains his distance. Both Grumio and Imrie on quite low battery right now. Yellow flag, and that is Cott. And once again, he finds himself going off. Another wing broken there for Cott, who continues to struggle in the second half of this race. Grumio, 10 seconds for corner cutting. And in doing what seems to be, what I can only assume is an impression of Max Verstappen in Mexico, Grumio's been hit with 20 seconds in this race. And that is a rare misstep for the reigning champion. As Che now rounds the last couple of corners and gets met with Cott, who dives into the pit lane. James, now the key opportunity to try and take the lead. Cott 10 seconds to be in the pit lane, he's retired from the session. James takes the lead, Cott out of the race. Imrie has third place now, but 2.5 seconds back from Che and James, who will now go hammer and tong to try and take the lead away from each other. And now DRS all of a sudden changing the game completely for both cars. And that'll be a case of these two maintaining control against each other. 10th Cannon fastest lap. So looking to try and score a point today's race, despite having 13 seconds to an end. And of course we could see some of these penalties get served should we get any more wet running in this race. There are 16 laps to go. So there is time for us to get to the wet weather again. James with a slide there up the hill. Che reclaims the lead, but may have gone a bit too soon because James get DRS come back at him. Down towards, but does he want to make that move yet? Does he want to make that move? He's going to make it regardless. JB penalty. I believe James just reclaimed the fastest lap. He did. 1:11.4. And Pope taking it now. And there's Websy. Che down towards turn 4 himself. Lando 1:11.3 on hard tyres. That Aston Martin is on the move. Keep an eye on Lando in the final 16 laps of this race. James right now scoring 25 points. Lando needs to get himself up into P4. Sorry, P3. He needs to get onto the podium from here to maintain his championship lead should James win this race. Lando right now only scoring 4 points. James scoring 26. Put 15 points clear in the standings, and Grumio in trouble as well. 20 seconds. It's not been a good day for Haas. Flying duck out of the race, but that might cap things off in the Constructors' Championship. Safety car's been deployed. And James and Che, their lead is evaporated just like that. Sorry, the word I'm looking for is eradicated. And Grumio coming in here. He gets a free stop to try and serve one of those 10-second penalties. Can he serve under safety car? I believe so. I could be wrong. It's cool one of those moments where I get the rules incorrect completely. We'll see what they do. And yes, he served one of them. Those are medium tyres going on that race car. And he's serving that while he's got a good opportunity to not lose too much track position. He's away, medium tyres on that car. Still 10 seconds to his name. Looking around, the sun starting to ever so slightly part the clouds here in Brazil. So Grumio rejoining P6 in this race, still with 10 seconds to his name. Websy right on his tail there as he comes out of the pits. James and Che though brought right back. Imrie and Pope now in contention. Neither car, none of those top 4 cars with any sort of penalties. They were the ones who didn't get caught out by the pit lane entry. Now, do the Silver Arrows have a chance to try and nab this race from under the noses of the 2 Red Bull cars of Che and James? One of them was obviously an RB, one of them Red Bull. But Flying Duck out of the race, caught out of the race. And with one car having no chance to score, unless both Haas cars fail to score and James win, short of Jay winning the race. So if James wins it, and Haas don't score from here, then I believe the championship continues on to next week in Las Vegas. And of course, that gives James a huge head of steam in the Drivers' Championship. So James is in a good spot right now. So leading the way, he's been battling Che throughout. Of course, Che managed to pull away a bit when the track started to dry up. Is he faster in the dry than anyone in that lead train? Our in P5 right now doing a brilliant job. In terms of his penalties, he's only got the he's got 6 seconds of track limits. Grimmir's got 10 seconds. So he'll be making sure he will bank on there not being a late safety car in this race. There are a lot of pit lane penalties here. There was five drivers who on that stop, their initial stop, got caught out. Cock got caught out serving it the first time. He got the penalty coming in for his actual pit stop, as well as receiving damage going in. He then took another bit of damage and again just missed it. He then came back into the pit lane, again spared, and that was it for him. So he caught out of the race. And Flying Duck did see happen to him, and I think he may have lost it coming out of turn 1, based on where the car ended up. So right now then, in terms of those pit lane penalties, only Grumio has 10 seconds left over because he took 2 penalties there. So we have scoring right now. It's about only scoring 12 points, and it could be lower given Grumio's penalties. It does look like Haas will be walking away with the Constructors' Championship with 4 races to spare. That just shows you how good that pairing is. Both of them contending for the Drivers' Championship for the first time since last season, more or less. It was Grumio and Landlord, the main 2 stars. Grovey was in the Red Bull, was chasing them down until our departure of the league. And from there, Landlord couldn't catch Grumio, who had no challenges in the late portion of the season. It was at this race last year where a big crash on a safety car restart brought out the RDL's first ever game-generated red flag. So hoping to avoid that this time around, they went 4 wide down Hetero Posta. That long straight between the end of the CNRS and the Skid of the Lager, that's turn 4. So those guys who are involved in that know not what to do in this restart. Rather than they know what not to do. So James will lead him then. He's coming through for this race restart. Backing everyone up, waiting for the right chance to go. There he goes. 12 laps to go. It's like the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's time to bring the action once again. And they all snake down towards turn 1. The whole field single file going in. Big lock up from the race leader James into that first corner. He's getting right to work here. James got a good jump, but can Che get him back? He's using his overtake there. As did Imri. Oh, a slide there from James. Grumio place over Alvar. Those two going side by side. The Haas wins out, only just for half a car length. The Nuggets clear. We're headed to the outside of Alvar now. Big lockups throughout. Over still on the outside there. Landlord right behind them. Keep an eye on him. Close to contact between the Sauber and the Alpine. Both of them keeping it nice and steady here. What racing this is. Top 5 are away. Now, of course, we get our first taste of DRS. Once again, going down towards turn 4. The detection point is right down the heart of the CNRS. That's turn 2. Che using the battery though, looking for it first. DRS deployed. Imri fastest lap. Into turn 1. Che around the outside, but James doing what Che was doing to him about 20 laps ago. Early on in the rain in this race, but Che now gets a second wind. Hope looking to the outside of his teammates side by side towards 4. What is with that shake of the camera? I'm not a massive fan of that angle. Che all over James here, looking around. Because Che's won here before, back in season 15. But in season 14, he faltered on the final lap when fighting none other than Landlord in the reverse grid finale that season. That was 3 seasons ago. He took the win the very next time around. You know, was looking to the outside in, but he couldn't quite do it. It's been a solid day for the Mercedes cars, buoyed by the safety car. More DRS incoming. Chasing out this time on James, who will probably try and defend the inside again, but to no avail. There goes Che getting there first. Oh, I thought it was contact for a second, then there wasn't. James switching back to the inside. Can he outbrake Che? No, he can't. Locks up into one. Che takes the lead. Pope looking for P2. Everyone's still single file here. There's a charge towards turn 4. Pope to the outside. Can't outbrake the RB. Gaming James penalty there. And that could be big. Given how close together this field is with just 9 laps to go. Oh, that might really cost James. He needs that pack to split up a lot more now. I hope everyone else around him gets penalties too. There's time for that to happen. So don't count it out just yet. Imrie to the inside of Imrie. Oh, contact between the pair of them. You almost saw Imrie go around, but another tap from Grumio saved him. He lost momentum there. Lucky not to pick up damage. Will continue on in P5 now. But of course, we'll get the place back because of that 10-second penalty. James on the main straight, not using his battery, keeping it in medium. Can he go for a late dive into the first corner? I don't think he can. Websy passing Imrie now. This guy's struggling. Imrie was one of the 2 cars who took hard tyres. Or sorry, who really stayed out, sorry. Landlord going for 1, going for 2. Maybe on Websy, couldn't quite do it. Grumio to the outside of Pope into turn 7. And the champion almost does it. Almost gets on the outside of him in 1 corner. Takes him 2 on the inside now. And Grumio move him into the podium places. But now he's got to try and take on his championship opponent. One of his 2 championship opponents. One of them's his teammate. 3 spots back in the wrong car. But still the championship leader. James right now only scoring 10 points, 1 point the gap in the standings, and that penalty won't help his case. At this rate, Landlord looks to be outscoring both Grumio and James. Grumio to the outside of James into 1. They come close to contact, but Grumio gets the job done. What a move from your reigning champion, proving why he is a 7-time champion, but it's not over yet. James goes flying through on the inside. Pope on the outside too, close to contact. There almost was contact between the 2 cars. Pope forced off the circuit. Websy goes through. Mercedes falling back here. Imrie struggling. He's got PJ Calvin all over him. The race for P7. Grumio in P3. James in P2. Or slide there. Pope back on the inside of Websy. James around the outside of. So Grumio around the outside of James. It's P2. Grumio trying to avoid as much issue as possible because of that penalty. But as of right now, it looks like he may still fall to outside of the points. Still 7 laps to go. Dan in P9 right now. And Redjack can see him up front. He needs to get close to Dan. I hope he gets another penalty to try and outscore the Aston Martin. He's got JB all over him. Turn 1, JB takes the place into P12 now. James DRS and Grumio won't let him pull away, but here comes Websy though. Websy hunting a podium finish here. James and Grumio simply must be careful at this portion of the Grand Prix. They can't afford to take each other out. Not with Landlord right behind them and already scoring more than them as it is because of those penalties they got. Che has set sail here. Yellow flag 62. That's Daniel Aaron around. And Aston Martin, their Constructors' Championship attempt score has got some more points. Goes out the window. And Red J must be breathing a sigh of relief going as he saw that Aston Martin go around. 5 points between those two teams in the standings. 6 laps to go. It's Che's race to lead. Websy right behind James there to the outside into turn 1. Still there. They try and do what Grumio did. He's on the outside. James forcing him out a little bit. Landor enters the picture now. 3 wide. We're looking at 3 wide potentially as they run towards turn 4. Caught out, breaks Landlord. Breaks Landlord only slightly. But still side by side. Once he gets in front, I might try and do it down to inside James then. I think he thought about it for a moment. Grumio right now, it's not enough for him. As it stands, he's still going to not score in this race. And that safety car has not helped his case, and neither is the second penalty. One of which he got for corner cutting. We didn't actually see him get that penalty. He served the pit stop one. But whatever he did, however egregious that corner cut was, it has cost him. Yellow flag, and that's down around again. Keeps it running. No issue in the Aston Martin. Will continue on. Websy finally getting the move on James to P3. And there's Landor looking down around the outside too. Into 1. James looking at on the inside. And Landlord now, after starting dead last, looks to be on course to actually extend this championship lead. What a drive it's been from Landlord. Hope on the inside of James here, going towards turn 4. Daniel Aaron, 10 seconds to speed in the pit lane. What's the plan for the Aston Martin? Is he going to call it a day there? Continue on. Let's say soft tyres going on. Can he try and perhaps bag the fastest lap at the end of this race? Grumio has now caught Che. He's going to need, right now, he's going to be sitting in about P13. He may still score a few points, but it's looking unlikely he's even going to have a top 5 in this race. Grumio to the outside. Will take the lead from Che. With 4 laps to go. I imagine Che will probably come back at him, but will he risk it when he knows he's got this race made unless he loses 10 seconds? Pope passing James. Those two still side by side. Emery right behind them, and PJ backing them up. Websy right now on course for a podium finish. Landlord breathing down his neck. He's on course for 3rd. And James has still got 3 seconds. So Paul's inside of Pope going into the right-hander. No contact between the 2 cars. Fantastic racing there. PJ right behind Emery. James. Oh, bit of slide there from Pope. James getting nipped back in front for the moment. Grumio has pulled the second on Che here. But so now he's in the lead. We can keep a direct eye on where exactly we're placing. Right now he's got to gain 2 more seconds to even score a point. Got to gain 2 on Lucky Lambert. Of course, if he can get the penalty removed, then he'll win this race. But that won't come until after the Stewards report later in the week. 3 laps to go. Che is still on his tail. So even so, Che might try to take the win on track in case that happens. Landor looking to take the move on Websy there. It's still a podium place for Websy right now. PJ around Emery. P8 here. P6 finish and P8 driver today. And P4 for Pope. If things stay as they are. And Lucky Lambert, the last car for Grumio to get the last car Grumio had to pull 10 seconds on in order to take a point from today. Daniel Aaron with the fastest lap. And the track crowding over a bit. Che closing here. Good run. Didn't look for a move at all there. He's pushing Grumio down the main straight. 2 laps to go. What was the game plan there for Che? Will he be looking to wait to the last second to go for that move? Of course, we've seen Che involved in a photo finish before, but he wasn't actually in that finish itself. He was the one who won the race on track, while Websy and Sigon Tim P-Fan ran to the line behind him at Zandvoort back in season 15 as James and Imri fight for P7 on the road. Imri should take that place because of James's penalty, unless he gets one of his own, in which case it's game on. Oh! The rain started to hit. Imri slides. And the rain falling and falling heavily here. Could this make an impact on the final lap, perhaps? The bell lap, one more to go into Argos. Che is there, closing that gap. He's going to go for it, throwing it into turn 1. Contact! Che maintains it, but Landlord's now right on his tail. And if Grumio's got 10 seconds, this could be the race win for Landlord. Can the 3-time series champion and championship leader go from last to first? He's got it right now. I don't believe this. Ben, 3 seconds for multiple warnings. As of right now, 8 drivers from the 17 still in the race with penalties. Imri's gone around. He hasn't gone around. He's fallen out the point plate. He's fallen out the points paying places. And he should get those. He should get some places back on penalties, but the rain has caught him out in the late stage of this Grand Prix, and he's suffering for it now. DRS disabled now. So Che can't get a last second run on Landlord back up the hill again. Che really sliding there. Websy's struggling too. Grumio is going to win the race on track by a full second, but unbelievably, Landlord's going to run to the line, and once that 10-second penalty is applied, the championship leader goes from last to first and wins the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. He takes victory here in Brazil from last on the grid in the wrong car. Landlord takes victory. Che second after leading for so long. Websy takes a much-deserved podium in P3. Pope finishes 4th. PJ 5th. What a drive for Williams. Grumio 6th in the end. Lucky 7th. Imri 8th. James 9th and 10th Cannon will once again nab a point. And the rain made an impact late on. Did Che need to go for that lunge? Is that what cost him? What a race, and that got very slippy and very slimy in the closing moments. Che controlled things until the last stage of that race. Went for that move on Grumio, tries to take the lead back, couldn't do it. Made contact with the Haas, spun out, and that put Landlord in prime position to take the move on the run towards turn 4. That was a race-winning move, if ever I've seen it. They spent the entire way debating whether or not Landlord would maintain his points lead with James doing so well earlier on. That penalty cost him. That safety car changed the game completely. Landlord wins the race, extends his championship lead. And with 4 races still to come, Vegas, Qatar, Abu Dhabi, and the finale in Portugal, it's anyone's game. But Landlord's given himself a very, very good chance. With his rivals finishing down the order, could be looking at Landlord's 4th RDL championship in a few weeks' time. We'll see if we can get a glimpse of the final results. We won't be able to this time around, unfortunately, because we never do, because the game is awful in that respect. And that will cap us off in terms of racing. Post interviews coming your way shortly. So we'll see who we get in here after that, quite frankly, remarkable caper of a race here in Brazil. Make sure to let me know your thoughts down in the chat below, because that was an entertaining one. And we have our first arrival, 10th Cannon. Welcome into the stream. A point late on, but that did get exciting towards the end, didn't it?
Sorry, what was that?
overall, he scored a point right at the end, but I mean that got quite exciting after that safety car. Would you agree?
I would. I'm glad that safety car happened, to be honest. I kind of needed one. Things kind of went from bad to worse for my race, really. It wasn't one of my best today. Yeah, just happy to be here, though. Really fun race in the rain. Really liked the physics of the car. Really liked the bit at the end. That was fun, trying to not die.
I mean, obviously, given the first two results of the podium last time out, is this perhaps a snap back to reality, or is this an off day for you? What are we thinking there?
Well, I could have done better, I think. I had an issue at the start. I got stuck behind a V-carb with anger issues, but I was trying to get past them was a little difficult. But eventually, once I did, I didn't exactly help myself by speeding in the pit lane. I probably could have done without doing that. But yeah, I think things just went from bad to worse since qualifying. Really getting knocked down in Q2 wasn't exactly the best either. But I think it was kind of just a perfect storm of things going wrong, really. I think I can probably climb back from this.
I think perfect storm was a fantastic way to describe it. Of course, yeah, that safety car, changed the game completely in the second half of the race. I mean, would you say that was it? That was perhaps monumental or crucial to your point scoring today?
Definitely. I wouldn't have been able to do it had it not been for the safety car, so glad that happened. I would have been somewhere at the back if not for it. Ironically, it was the oh wait, no, I probably shouldn't call out the person. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, probably best not to.
Yeah, no, let's not start issues today. We've had enough already. Yeah.
And then last thing we'll see in terms of next week, Las Vegas next time out. We're going to catch you up for that one potentially.
If there's someone not racing, then I'll be there. I hope I can be there.
Sounds good. Vegas always a spectacle, no matter what league it is in. But
Yeah.
hopefully we'll see you back here next week. We'll come now to Gaming James, who in the end finishes a bit down the order compared to what you might have wanted. James, commiserations after such a strong first stint. Things seem to fall a bit further apart and after the safety car. What happened out there?
In the wet, it was brilliant. The car loved it. So it didn't. It's catching even probably faster than the very start of the race it was on the day, and I think Grumio was in front of me. But as soon as dry weather started, things just fell apart quickly. I mean, the safety car obviously didn't help. But I mean, I had no grip going out of corners. The car would understeer into corners, slow corners, and have massive snaps oversteers on the faster ones. Just it was undrivable today, really. But yeah, it wasn't great. Even getting that penalty as well, not great.
I think being one of those bad scenarios where a penalty and a late safety car don't go well together, I think. But obviously, Landlord won the race with Grumio's penalty. Without the penalty, obviously, Grumio wins it there. So, losing ground on both those two Haas cars in the standings. Is the title still on, do you think? I mean, still 4 rounds to go. There's plenty of time for things to change, but just to get your thoughts.
Well, to be honest, I had to hope Landlord crashes out in the next few races. And I actually win it, and I'll just close the gap down. But honestly, if he just drives and gets 5th position, and I win every race, he'd probably still win it. So, not much hope, I suppose.
I mean, it's Vegas next week, so there's every chance that we see something dramatic happen next week. I mean, is Vegas any good as a track for you? What are we thinking there?
I hate Vegas, honestly. Do not like it whatsoever. It's just weird corners and all, no grip. Just don't like it.
Do you know what? I'm with you here. That's why I'm glad I'm up in the commentary box and not down there with you guys on the racetrack. Well, still solid race. The pace was strong all day. Just caught out a bit at the end. So again, commiserations, and hopefully we'll see you back on form a bit more next week and looking for race win number 6 on the season.
Thank you.
And we'll come now to our podium finisher in the chat. Congratulations, Websy, back onto the podium once again. If I have a look at my statistics sheet here, that is your 2nd podium in a row. So back-to-back podiums after Mexico. Well done. Congratulations, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, it was a great race. I actually thought I was going to struggle because I heard Pope on the commentary saying anyone with a dry setup is probably going to struggle here. And I thought to myself, yeah, I actually agree with you, Pope. And I had already obviously put my setup in, and I was running kind of 23, 28 wings. So yeah, when the rain came, kind of thing, it was a bit of a struggle, but it just seemed to be all right. And I was chasing Pope for quite a bit, and we were kind of keeping pace-ish, and yeah, it wasn't until the end. To be fair, it wasn't until the end after I got over or past a couple of people. I thought, shit, oh wow, going to be on the podium. I wasn't expecting it at all. To be fair, I just kind of kept my head down and just kept racing, if you will. But no, it's great result.
I was going to ask, because obviously after that safety car came out, you cut up the field methodically just from the cars in front of you. What were the tactics in play there? Is anything in particular, or is it just put it to the floor and go as fast as it'll go?
What was that? Sorry.
Do you know what? I felt like I was speaking fast. So, but yeah, since the safety car came out, you just cut up the cars in front of you bit by bit until eventually, yeah, you were there in the podium places. So, was there any sort of tactic in play there?
No, obviously not. There's no tactic at all, realistically. It's just a point of just if you see something and you see a safe gap, you go for it, and that was it. And I think James and I forgot who was next to him, and there was racing in front, and then they kind of touched around the corner. I think it was Pope actually, and then all of a sudden it was kind of like the minute you touch, and obviously you make a small mistake with these lads, and obviously you get past kind of thing. So I had great pace because obviously I had a really low downforce dry setup. I was shocked that Landlord caught me on the straights as well as he did, but he had an amazing race coming from the back. No, I was pretty taken back by getting on the podium. But the setup just felt really good. So hopefully all going well. Looking forward to Vegas. I think it's always a bit of a funny one. Vegas. It's complete chaos, and then. So I don't know what will extrude from that, but yeah, it's looking forward now.
The last thing I did want to ask you, obviously, with the podium finish, obviously, and I know he's here as well. You obviously outscored Pope today. Only leaves a few points between you guys in the Drivers' Championship. Is there a fight going on there? Can you nab P4 from the last few races?
No, probably not. I don't think not next week, but the week after. I'm missing a week. Okay. So maybe that might happen, but if obviously if Pope carries on making stupid judgment calls into the pits and not putting fresh tyres on, I might have a good chance.
Oh, Pope, do you want to respond to that too?
Cheeky bugger.
You know I'm right though, don't you? When you didn't go in the pits, I thought to myself, why are they going in the pits? I only actually lost one place, you see, and I thought, oh yeah. God, no, you've done it again, haven't you?
I didn't think this week was as bad as other weeks, but to be fair, it's not been my fault. It's been the stupid game and its silly changes, and I've been getting my tyre allocation wrong.
Blame the game, Landon Norris. Blame the game.
Yeah, that's it. Blame the game. Yeah, but we had a great run, and on the wets we were just keeping pace, and you was actually catching the front runners just a little bit kind of thing. So I think you actually spurred me along a little bit, to be fair. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem at all. Just don't take my P4 from me and I'll be happy.
I'll try not to.
Love the respect between these two drivers in particular. Well, congrats again, Webbsy. We'll come now to JB, who I think just missed out on the points in the end. Am I wrong, JB? You want to correct me on that?
Well, P11, but 10th is reserved, so I didn't have a point in the end.
That's true, yes. Okay, because I wasn't too sure. Well, of course, the big thing that came for you today that obviously gave us all a bit of a shock was the Q1 elimination. What happened?
Yeah, just I changed my ride height for the race because it said it was going to be wet, and just a little bit loose on the rear, but didn't seem to have a great deal of dry pace in general. My wet pace was much better, but that's what happens sometimes, and yeah, hopefully better qualifying next week.
I mean, what you said on the wet pace couldn't be more true. I mean, you had a blast of a start there in the opening lap. Talk us through that, because I mean that was fantastic to watch.
Yeah, the the strategy screen said that the wet tyre was about 7 seconds quicker. Not a lap, but over the sort of first stint. So I thought, why not take a gamble? I'm starting P16. And it was good at the start, but after maybe lap 5, it started to fall away from the Inters. So I had to pit quite early. So basically, I was sort of like half a pit stop behind the whole race, trying to catch up until the safety car. But I made some good overtakes, and I think my pace was okay, which is good. And yeah, luckily managed to get a point in the end.
I will ask you though, and in terms of the championship, obviously Che finished up front today. PJ got a good finish as well, so that puts your top 10 this season potentially in a bit of jeopardy in these last few rounds. Do you reckon we can hold these guys off or not?
I don't think I'll finish outside the top 10 because even if Che and PJ do get past, I'll still be 10th.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Right, yeah, go on.
But I think Che's definitely, Che's a great driver. He's way too quick for me and PJ. PJ is now 8 points behind, and we were talking about it. A little bit worrying, and he's on a good run of form. So I'll try to hold him off, but probably. Well, I'm not going to say no. So let's see.
So we'll say no promises for now, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, congratulations on the point in the end, and we'll come now last of all to Touchby Pope, who is up there potentially looking at a podium after safety or from the safety car onwards, but things sort of fell away Pope towards the end. What happened?
Yeah, I just think there was just a lot of unnecessary like rubbing and touching. It was a bit weird, to be honest. Don't take that one out of context, please.
I'm correcting that.
But no, I just sometimes the racing does baffle me. But it's just I think as soon as you lose that DRS, you're completely screwed. But I went into this race not even expecting to make Q3, so P4 or probably what will be P5 isn't too shabby.
Not too shabby at all. Of course, we were talking you and I before the start of the stream about Interlagos in general, and this obviously the circuit continues to. I think because obviously you were saying to me, of all the tracks that you've driven on, this one continues to sort of elude you in terms of race win. Do you reckon that will come in the future?
I mean, potentially. I mean, it's easy if you're in the train, but I feel like I'll need a very easy dry race to kind of do that. I mean, obviously, I felt like I had the luck of the Irish on my side as soon as the safety car came out. I was absolutely buzzing because obviously, as Webbsy's alluded to, we were kind of in the middle of nowhere, and it was a really horrible first stint of you're not racing anyone, and you're trying to catch up to people, but they're rapid, so it was a bit tough, but I think after that it felt all right.
Last thing then, in terms of next week's race in Vegas, this will be your first RDL outing to Vegas because of course the last time you were up here with me in the comms box, and I valued your contribution there more than I do on here now. So but yeah, is Vegas going to be a fun one, do you reckon, or will it be hell on earth?
Well, I have no idea. Like, obviously, like I said, my first time driving it, and it literally will be probably my first few laps on Vegas in total. I went around it very casually, but yeah, I don't know what it's going to be like. I mean, obviously, I tend to do relatively well at street circuits, so by that, maybe we will do all right, but at the end of the day, it's a complete unknown to me, and I feel like that will probably show in the pace. I'm certain.
I know one way to find out that'll be to wait for next week. But before we cap things off, then, gents, two things that we're going to do. I've got two questions for you. The first one, obviously, the word of the race, because I forgot it last week, which was annoying when Obsesta reminded me after the race. But is there a word anyone's got? I mean, I liked the phrase Tenth used earlier, perfect storm. Does that work?
Yeah, if you hyphenate it, because it's not one word, but yeah, I like perfect storm.
we're always sensitive on that sort of thing. But there we go. Perfect storm is the word of the race if we hyphenate it. And the last thing I want to ask you guys, just because we've got 4 rounds to go, and obviously there's been a bit of play in the championship. I want to ask all three of you, one at a time, who you're putting your bets on to win the Racers Driving League 17 World Drivers' Championship. Pope, I'll come to you first.
Touchby Pope. They're all going to get disqualified. Too many penalty points. We're all going to crash into each other on purpose every week, and then everyone's going to get disqualified, and Touchby Pope will win the championship.
Okay, so get away from your fantasy land, Pope. Who's going to win the championship?
Realistically, Grumio. I don't need to say he's done it. He's done it too many times to where it'll be quite hard to bet against him.
JB?
I'd say after today, where I think Grumio really needed to capitalise, and James, I'll say Landlord.
Say Landlord. And Websy, who you got down?
I think landlord.
Okay, right. So betting against James. I mean, personally, I get the feeling that James will come roaring back and still somehow win this championship. But of course, it's getting a bit more bleak for him. But we'll see just who's got the speed next time out in Las Vegas on the 11th of November. Same place, same time here on the Zach RC channel. Make sure to get
Zach,
subscribed. Yep. Go on.
Sorry, I just need a little announcement
Go on.
for anyone who is listening. There'll be a poll in the chat tomorrow for a rule change next season. I won't say what it is
Ooh.
now, but if everyone can vote, and I do expect everyone who is planning to race next season to vote. So yeah, just look out for that with the stewards report.
Big changes potentially coming to the RDL for next season, but we'll perhaps have word on that next time out we go to Vegas on the 11th. So same place, same time on the Zach RC channel. Make sure to get subscribed for more future RDL content as we near the closure of the season. Who will win the Drivers' Championship? And one last thing, we'll have to do the count out. I'm unsure if Haas are the Constructors' Champions. Can you confirm that, JB, or we have to wait for a bit longer for
that? Yeah, must be
I'm
because
thinking they are.
I don't
I
think
think-
Mercedes have scored enough
Yeah,
points.
I don't think we did.
Hang on, let me just. Sorry,
We'll-
sorry to delay your.
It's all good. We'll-
Provisionally,
What's
provisionally,
4
I don't think
times
they are, but
44? 176, which means Mercedes would have had to outscore. Yeah, no, definitely champions.
It's over then. Well, congratulations to Grumio and Landlord. Once again, champions. Haas, the Constructors winners for Season 17. And that'll be the word. Can they do the double and have one of their two drivers take the RDL crown once again? We'll have to wait and see. Have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you next time in Las Vegas.